God bless you guys, and welcome back to another video. So let's go. So this is episode 13 of my Άγιος Αθάνατος Orthodox podcast, and we will be talking about Gaza and what the Orthodox churches, the Orthodox opinion on Gaza is. So let's go. So firstly, the Orthodox Church believes that they are the true church, and they are they're the continuation of ancient Israel. Ancient Israel in the Old Testament was chosen by God to fulfill for his promise. He chose Israel out of all the other countries he could have chosen. He chose Israel because he just chose them. And then once he thought the world was ready, after he chose his command base, his little base in Israel, he prepared the world with Israel. They weren't chosen anymore, because guess why? The Messiah did come. And then he broke the new covenant. He broke the old covenant and brought in the new covenant. And then he created the church like we know it, but the Orthodox Church as we know it. And then he created the Orthodox Church as we know it after the new covenant came, because the Jewish people weren't chosen anymore, because they did their job. They did their job as Israel. Then now they made the world ready. The base, the bread, the pizza dough was set, and then God came and put the ingredients on and completed the pizza. Let's if you want to say it like that. Israel completed God's promise they completed part one. They weren't chosen, and then God came, Jesus came as the Son of Man, the God-man, Son of God, the God-man, he calls himself. Yes, he brought in the new covenant and the New Testament, and then the church, the chosen people, where everyone was the chosen. All the church was the chosen people. There's no Jew or Gentile, no Jew or Greek, like in the Bible. Like in the Bible, it says there's no Jew or Greek, or Jew and Gentile. It says. So we have that. And the Orthodox Church believes it's the true church, and I believe that too. And they keep the traditions, and we can talk about the Catholic Church and the Protestants, because they're different. They broke the traditions, introduced heresies. They're different churches. I'm not judging them, I'm just saying the truth. They're just different churches. We can talk about that in a different video, but not now, it's a bit too long. We want it sharp and quick. This one just on the Orthodox opinion on Gaza. So the Orthodox Church is the true church, and they are the ancient Israel. They go back all the way to the Old Testament and the Old Covenant with Moses, and they have the history. And then when the New Covenant came, that was also the Orthodox Church, because the early Christians were a part of the Orthodox Church, the whole of the church. And the ancient Israel and all the ancient Christians were a part of the Orthodox Church. And then when Jesus came, the Old Testament, New Testament, Jesus, and then the apostles and the saints, they're all a part of the Orthodox Church history. Now we had Constantinople, the rise and fall of Constantinople, and the current day with Bartholomew and all of this. This is all Orthodox Church, and they are the true Israel. The Orthodox Church is the true Israel. The Orthodox Church is the true Israel, and the Orthodox Church is the new Israel, and they have a history going back to the old Israel. They're the true Church of Christ. They're the unchanged body of Christ, the unchanged Church of Christ, like He created it, and they are the truth. And we support the Orthodox Church. I've talked a bit too long, but the main thing I want to say is that the Orthodox Church doesn't support Israel. That thinks it's still that the Jewish people broke away from God's teaching. When He rose up, they didn't like that their power was taken away from the Mosaic law, the Moses law. The Pharisees got very pissed off with that because they just didn't like it. They had power because they had the law, and they went with the law and the Old Testament, and they didn't like all this new, happy, gentle. The Old Testament was very Jewish, Israel focused, and the Old Testament was around them. They got a lot of power. They didn't like it. Basically, Old Testament Israel had power because God chose them for a part of His story of spreading the truth. And when the time came, they weren't chosen anymore because the New Testament came and the New Covenant came, and they didn't have that power. They got pissed off after that happened, after the crucifixion, but then He didn't die because He rose up. So they lied about it. The Pharisees paid the Roman soldiers to lie about it, like the Bible says. And and that's how modern Judaism was born. The ancient Jewish law was the church. That's the old Jewish law and the old Jewish religion, which is ancient. The ancient Christians. It wasn't Jewish. It was Christians. It was ancient Christian. And yes, they didn't like after the I got interrupted a lot, but basically it took a long time to say what I wanted to say. But let's finish it off by simply saying the Orthodox Church doesn't support the Pharisees, the modern day Pharisee country of Israel. That's based on Jewish law, that it was the Jewish country of Israel, that's based on the Jewish laws, and all of this came after the crucifixion, but then He came out of the tomb and resurrected, and then the Pharisees paid the Roman soldiers, like I said, to lie and say that it was a scam, a scandal. And He didn't come out of the tomb. They just moved Him somewhere or something, and then they kept believing what they believed. That's how Talmudic Judaism was born. The ancient Judaism was more like the Orthodox Church, with the rituals and the things, and that's why the Orthodox Church is similar to modern day Judaism. But why they changed was when the Orthodox Church, the Jewish people that became the Orthodox Church later, basically Orthodox Church and Judaism, very similar in the Old Testament, basically the same thing. What happened was He resurrected, and then after the Pharisees lied, one part of the Jewish people followed them and made Talmudic Judaism, and then the other part became the Orthodox Church, and then that split into Catholic Church and Protestant Church, but that's a different video. And then And so we don't support the genocide in Gaza and the Jewish state of Israel and what they're doing, but we don't support the Pharisee, neo-Pharisee Jewish, Talmudic Jewish state, the country of Israel, that's Zionist. That's a Zionist thing, and that's a whole different thing, started by atheist Jewish people. They didn't believe, they weren't really Jewish, but they said they were, but they didn't really practice it, and they made that 200 years ago, a thing called Zionism, and that's a whole different issue, and that's a whole different video and issue. But we don't support them. No, they killed many millions. What they believe that Jesus is rotting in a hell, in a pot of feces, in hell, in feces, poo, and that his mother, the Theotokos, is a prostitute, and they believe we're idol worshippers and all of this, and that we should die and all of this. Most Jewish people are calm, and I'm not judging them. I'm just saying the truth and what some of them might believe. The ones that actually believe the Talmud, and the more right-to-wing ones. But if there's peaceful Jewish people, some don't really believe the violent things, but the ones that do pay attention to the details, and they're fanatics, that's what they believe, and I'm saying the truth. I'm trying not to lie. Even if the truth doesn't sound good, we have to say the truth. And same with Muslims, that's what they believe. Very similar things with the Quran. Because Satan is behind, he's the father of lies. You can connect the dots. Quran and the Talmud they're lies by Satan. That's why they're similar. Meanwhile, the Bible, they have those two books, Quran and Talmud, have similar things. Quran and Talmud / the Torah are similar because Satan he might have borrowed the truth to make the lie sound good. But at the end of the day, the truth is the Bible, the Orthodox Church, and nothing else. And yes, but we don't support Israel that's doing a genocide and doesn't believe what we believe. Not only they're doing a genocide, they're also completely different in their religion and beliefs and all of this. They don't believe good things about Jesus either, so it's not good to support the Zionist regime. Meanwhile, Hamas, I'm not too certain. I know they're not innocent, but I don't like supporting them either. I like to stay neutral. Iran, they have Christians in Iran, and I know some information most people wouldn't know, but so I like to stay neutral, but support Iran and Russia, and lean more on their side because they're supporting the Palestinian people, and I don't think they're that bad. They have Christians in Iran and Russia, but then we can make a whole different video about Christians and information that people might not know. But I like to stay neutral, and I generally support the Palestinian people, no side, because the second you start picking a side, it becomes personal, and you start judging, and it's a Satan thing. He starts making you judge, and he's not good. You have to stay neutral and support the Palestinian people. If you must take a side of the Orthodox Christian people and the Christians in general in Israel that are getting persecuted by the Zionist regime, the evil Zionist corrupt regime, in Israel, in Syria, the terrorist government installed by Israel, Assad might not have been a saint either, but at least he protected the rights of the Christian people, didn't openly kill them like this Israel MOSSAD installed regime is doing. And in Syria, you have to support them in Syria and Lebanon, in Palestine, support them everywhere, the Christians and the Orthodox Christian people. And I hope you understand how the Orthodox Church thinks now. And stay neutral, support the Orthodox and Christian communities everywhere, and God bless you and have a nice day.